What is up, guys? Welcome to the Transparency. It is a Monday night, all night, September 22nd, and it is actually 9 p.m. 11 minutes. There is Mario Saldana walking in the courtroom right there. I mean, he is about as tall as an elf. I mean, he like towers over. I mean, she towers over him. Talking about Shanna. So there's Mario. There's Patrick Crody right there. One of Shanna's defense attorneys. And then right here, there's Mr. I call him Mr. K, but and then to the left here, that is Stifler. Look at that hair. Just ever flowing. Come on in, join us. Take a look. Oh, wait. We got to watch her walk in because she has been working out. I think that she's pretty lost. Right there. Right here. Yeah. What are they providing her to wear? What's going on here? Oh my God. We have to talk about so much. All right, so I have no idea. This is like horrible. This is a hearing last week, but this audio sounds like shit.
Dreiser and Mr. Karodi review this, make additions, and we're all in agreement that these redactions encompass the.
Okay, so what this is about is they push back the trial until next August. It will kick off. She is to the left. This is Stifler here. She's a goddamn recluse. She's out of her mind. She's like, here's the state's 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th supplemental responses. Girl, what if y'all were going to trial right now? They were supposed to go to trial in October of 2025. And she is just now giving them discovery.
Court's order. So I'm filing state's 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th supplemental discovery exhibits at this time.
Does the defense agree?
Yes, Your Honor. For the record, there are highlighted portions on those exhibits that we've agreed
Okay.
to be redacted.
Yeah, we agree that things need to be redacted. Let me tell you why things need to be redacted. I cannot make this up. Shanna Gardner is being accused of talking to inmates in Spanish. Not just the 4 like American speaking inmates that are bad apples, man. Like we're talking like hella records and shit. But we're talking about 2 inmates. One of them, which was her like personal cellie, she speaks Spanish, and Shanna Gardner was just speaking Spanish to her. What the fuck she was? That doesn't even make any sense. Shanna Gardner doesn't speak Spanish. But hey, we're here for it. Ah.
Your Honor, for this hearing, may I remain seated? The microphone issue.
Yes. Yes, I'm
Quite awkward.
absolutely.
There's Mario. All right, and now I'm gonna put some things on the I'm gonna use Hector the projector here.
The dates listed on here, those are the dates of disclosure to the defense.
Yes, Your Honor. I was just holding off on filing until the court's ruling on their motions. So the dates on there were the dates that I provided, the discovery exhibits for either to defense or viewing to defense, and the items listed have been provided as of those dates listed on there. I know, but. Okay. I know you.
All right, so I've reviewed each one of the discovery exhibits, and I just want to confirm, state's ninth does not have any redactions. Y'all agree with that?
You could have
You
one
want to,
moment
do you want to
before
see
that.
it?
Sure.
Okay, I just want to make sure y'all agree, because that's the only one that does not have any highlighting or.
All right. As the state is trying to make things right, I'm going to make things whole. This was a live hearing last Thursday, I want to say, possibly Friday. It was the 18th and 19th. Okay. So Jared Bridegan was born to Gaylord and Joanne Bridegan in Warrensburg, Missouri. His family moved to Jacksonville, Florida, where he graduated in 2007 from the Douglas Anderson School of Arts for high school. He later earned a BS in digital media, specializing in cinema production from the Utah Valley University. We've gotten a lot of talk about Utah Valley University. That's where the shooting just occurred for Charlie Kirk. So Jared Bridegan actually graduated from Utah Valley University in 2014. Bridegan, a talented professional, held senior roles in UX and technology, ultimately becoming a senior designer manager at Microsoft. But that is me being very, very kind to say it, because Jared had tried many ventures before he assumed a position with Microsoft, and those ventures failed. He was a devoted father of four, absolutely 100%, with two children from his ex-wife, Shanna Gardner, with the last name now Fernandez, so she hyphenated it, and two with his current wife, Kirsten Bridegan, who had left her role as a Microsoft account manager to become a full-time mother. Jared Bridegan and Shanna Gardner. In 2010, when they first met, Jared Bridegan and Shanna Gardner met through Jared's brother's wife. Intrigued by Shanna, Jared flew out to Utah. So Shanna Gardner lived in Utah at the time that he flew out there when he first met her in February of 2010 to take her out on a date, their first date. Their connection was instant, and within just 2 months, literally 2 months, they decided to get married, making the beginning of their life together in April of 2010. Their wedding date was April 10th, 2010. Jared and Shanna met through, again, like I said, Jared's brother's wife. And Jared actually got on a plane after he met her in Jacksonville, mutual friends. He flew out to Utah to take her on a date. And after 2 months, like legit, they got married. It would be 4/10/2010 in Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Salt Lake City. The Bridegan family, so Jared and Shannon, they had twins, and boy and a girl. The boy was born with medical condition with his heart. So in 2013 December, right before the new year in 2014, December 2020, or I'm sorry, 2013, Jared moved to Connecticut. In January of 2014, their son had surgery out there. In January, be specific here, January 27th of 2014, Shanna and the kids followed Jared and moved from Utah to Connecticut due to their son Liam having a medical condition that required them to be close to his specialist. Within 6 months, June 30th, 2014, Jared convinced Gardner, his wife, to move to Florida, Jacksonville to be specific, for a fresh start. Now, Jacksonville is where all of Jared's family lived. Following the doctor's recommendations for Liam's medical condition, they moved in with Jared's parents to begin with. At the time, Jared was pursuing a master's degree online at the Savannah College of Art and Design. Now, once Jared and Gardner got married, shortly after that marriage, Shelly Gardner's family, a lot of money, okay? They have a family trust, and it entered into a scholarship and stipend agreement with Gardner and Jared. Under the agreement, Jared Bridegan would receive higher education expenses through a monthly stipend. To receive the proceeds under this agreement, Jared was required to be an active Mormon church member and remain married to Gardner. This stipend amounted to $8,500 per month, and it included health care coverage equivalent to the benefits received by her mom's company. Their company was Stampin' Up, and they were treated like employees. So they received that, health medical benefits. Throughout the Gardner-Bridegan marriage, the Gardners, Shannon's parents, they provided substantial financial support to Shannon and Jared. In 2011, so right after the 2010 marriage, the Gardners gifted the mortgage of a home in Utah amounting to almost $370,000. In 2013, Gardner redeemed, not Jared, but Gardner redeemed an interest in one of the umbrella companies of Stampin' Up for $440,000. Between 2011 and 2014, Gardner and Bridegan received cash gifts of $25,000 from the Gardners on several occasions. The Gardners also set up trusts for the twins in Bridegan's name. Now, cutting out some of the things that transpired financially is Jared took out $150,000 of money to put into an app that ended up failing. So, there was a lot of money that was, $8,500 is what you get per month as a stipend for you two to be Mormons and going to school, and it was for bills and things like that. Now, July 1st of 2014 is when Jared and Gardner, they officially moved into their home in Jacksonville. And in a blog, Gardner writes, since moving to sea level and or the it was like they needed to move to sea level for their son. So their son Liam was made and has made a remarkable amount of progress with his condition. The pressure in his heart has decreased and his lungs are much more relaxed. Ultimately, this is probably from being at sea level. Because he has shown so much improvement in such a short time, the specialist is very hopeful that he will be able to realistically manage his disease with medications. Otherwise, he would only live to be anywhere between like 20 years of age. Now, in July of 2014, This is them being settled in Jacksonville. So they moved from Utah after they got married. They had twins. Then they moved to Connecticut at the close of 2013, beginning of 2014. Then in July of 2014, they moved to Jacksonville. And then literally at the beginning of 2015, February 15th to be exact, Gardner files for divorce. So for the holidays, right before the divorce was put on paper, Jared Bridegan bought Gardner a package of training sessions, like PT, personal training sessions. Shanna stopped going to the church and started zealously working out. It is said that she became frustrated with Jared, who had gained weight. Again, this is from family, not from Gardner, and was trying to get his business off the ground. So she was frustrated. The fresh start failed when Jared said, "Hey, let's go to Jacksonville." It failed, and the couple drifted further apart than they were in Connecticut and Utah. Jared remained a devoted LDS member, while Shanna Gardner moved further away from their religion. Now, February, to be exact, 2015, so February 23rd, 2015, Shanna Gardner filed for divorce. During her marriage to Jared, Gardner met a personal trainer at the gym, and the version that you are going to get from the state is that she became involved with him. However, there is no evidence of this, and in fact, Shanna Gardner maintains that, no, we became emotionally attached. There was never any physical, like, I did not have sex with him. It was more like emotional. So this connection made her realize, though, if she was way more emotionally attached to this person, then she had deeper feelings for this person and emotional connection versus Jared. There is something severely wrong, and she needed to call it quits with her marriage. So this emotional shift contributed to the strain in her relationship with Jared, eventually leading to her separation. That gym that Shanna had joined was a CrossFit gym. Again, that was after Jared had bought some PT sessions as a gift. This person was not the person that Shanna would eventually marry. That would be Mario Saldana. That is not who the personal trainer is. So in case anybody's wondering, it's not the same person. Again, there was this alleged affair, but you will see all the records are going to come out here at trial. There is no physical affair. Jared said that he found some emails between the two of them, and he confronted her, and she told him that she just didn't love him anymore. She wasn't in love. Jared told his family members, quote unquote, "I don't recognize this person. I married a totally different person," and that's coming from the family of Jared. Jared had always believed in the sanctity of marriage, but as time went on, things between him and Gardner started to unravel. So Gardner, she's a confident and driven woman. I do not know who is claiming that of her, but she had always been focused on her career and personal goals. Again, I have no idea who's claiming that, because from all the evidence that the state is going to put forward, she was a mother. She didn't become career driven and focused on her goals until after the divorce, when she was like, I have to work, I have to make money. So Jared admired her for these traits, though. So I'm guessing that it came from Jared's family. But over the last few months before they got divorced, he noticed a shift in her demeanor. She became distant, emotionally withdrawn from their relationship. Again, the once strong bond they shared seemed to be fraying at the edges. So this is his vantage point, and this came from the family. Again, the tipping point came when Jared noticed Gardner's increasing attachment to her personal trainer at the gym. It wasn't long before Gardner told Jared she wanted a divorce. But everybody needs to really pay attention to the language, which is, if we're moving to Jacksonville to have a fresh start, things could have been good before they moved to Jacksonville. And this couple, as you will see, has no problem just like moving. They literally will just move, even if it's just like 30 minutes away or 20 minutes away, or it's what they've always done. It's pretty interesting. You could never say it was a change in circumstance because they were always moving. But the tipping point came when, like I said, Jared noticed Gardner's increasing attachments to her personal trainer at the gym. It wasn't long before Gardner told Jared that she just wanted a divorce. She insisted that it had nothing to do with infidelity. We just don't love each other anymore. And I think maybe a better word is, unless they truly just didn't love each other, but being in love and loving somebody is two totally different things. She explained that and she was denying any type of an affair, but Jared couldn't shake that feeling that there was just more to the story. Jared was heartbroken and confused. Jared reached out to a mutual friend, Mallory, and this mutual friend had always been a good listener. Again, this is totally coming from the family. Obviously, this isn't coming from Jared. In a late night email, he poured out his thoughts in quotes, "In the past 3 months, Gardner has become really distant and got emotionally attached to her personal trainer at the gym. And now she's divorcing me. But she has her agency, so I just need to move on and find someone to be my best friend again, you know?" Referring to Shanna Gardner being his best friend and that he needs to find a new best friend. The divorce, however, was far from amicable. That's what people think. Now, let me tell you something about divorces. Something that wouldn't be amicable would not be able to be decided within months. When Shanna Gardner filed for divorce in February of 2015, it was February 23rd of 2015, their papers were literally signed in July of the same year. So you have March, April, May, June, July. If you were able to get a divorce finalized within a 5-month period, I don't know how people could ever say that that was not an amicable divorce. These two people, Jared and Shanna, they agreed that, hey, neither one of them was trying to get full custody. It was, hey, it's 50-50, and that they wanted everything to be split with their finances. So half of the house, half of the furnishing, everything like that. It was just all 50-50. You're going to buy me out of things. If you go and look at the filing, there may be 733 pages in a divorce filing. It was not just the divorce, though, that they're talking about. Everything after July of 2023, or I'm sorry, of 2016, 15, everything moving forward, these are things that they would go back and forth on their co-parenting status. But getting divorced and both parents having 50-50 of the custody, the expenditures, things like that, they all agreed with that within 5 months. Now, towards the later part, though, when they would be going back and forth, there would be, and we'll take care of this in a totally different live, but everything that they were, and anything that they were arguing about was literally petty. Okay? And you guys will see in a further live. But there was nothing like, you are a shitbag mom or dad and you can't handle the kids, you can't have the kids. In fact, after the divorce was finalized in July of 2015, Jared moved to Utah. He kept his residency in Florida, but he was going to school out in Utah. And he actually met a woman that he got engaged to relatively quickly. You guys will hear about this at the trial. And they broke it off just as quickly. And then it was after that he met Kirsten, who he then marries and has 2 kids with. But when you want to talk about both of these people meeting each other, getting married within 2 months, they both did the same thing with their next partners. So that is not like out of the ordinary for them, because that's what they did with each other. So in trial, that's going to hold no weight that they were both married so quickly they were both like looking for somebody else. And I'm going to tell you why they were looking for somebody else. Because they both needed help because they didn't have family help. Shanna Gardner's family was across the country, whether they were in Utah, Washington, wherever the hell they were. Jared's parents and family, they weren't like watching their kids or anything like that when they were like a married couple. So here, when they split apart, it was here's Gardner and here's Jared. And Jared goes and literally lives in Utah. And Jared only sees the kids once a month on the weekend of that weekend of the month, because he's going to school out there. Well, then Gardner decided, like, well, hey, why are we in this 50-50 custody if I'm having the children all the time and paying for all of their stuff? Like, you need to provide me with some financial resources here because I have them all the time and I'm paying for everything. Which, think about it, you would do the same thing. Now, towards the end of Jared's life, which would be 2022, they were bickering over, they would always go back to court for what they like to call the tug of war. Whoever thinks that they can provide a better atmosphere for the child, they will go and they'll file and they'll be like, hey, can you reassess our finances? They should be paying me and blah, blah, blah. In Ohio, and it should be this way everywhere, Ohio is really good about, you have to show a substantial change in circumstances to even remotely consider the magistrate or the judge modifying a shared parenting decree. Okay? Because we're not going to keep a tug of war with the parents saying, we're not going to keep coming back into the courts. Oh, hey, guess what? I make another $50,000 more than you this year and I should have them and blah, blah. Or, hey, I moved over here and it's we're not going to do this every year. Consistency matters, stability matters, and you're going to have to show a significant change in circumstance to be able to come through and to modify a final shared parenting decree. And that is Bell versus Bell. Go check it out in Ohio. It's awesome, but that's just how it should be. You should not be playing ping pong with the children. 50-50, they both won at 50-50. It wasn't, neither one of them ever put in paperwork to say, hey, I want sole custody, or hey, I'm trying to relocate. And all paperwork that either one of these two parents ever put in, it wasn't what you think. Nobody was trying to relocate. It was nothing like that. It was, they always wanted their finances to be reassessed. Okay. Now, July 2015, 50-50 shared parenting. Gardner paid Jared $330,000 for half of his interest of the house that they owned that the Gardners actually paid for. There was no spousal support award to either parent, and they split all the furnishings. Now, November 2015, they put a temporary parenting plan in place because of Jared relocating in the long distance plan. Even though he maintained his residence in Florida, he was in Utah. Gardner decided that, hey, we should probably modify this because I have them all the time. So that's why she filed in January of 2016. And it was to modify based on Jared living in Utah and only seeing the kids once a month. And that went on for many, many months. February of 2016, Jared said, you need to dismiss this and blah, blah. I was moving back. This was just temporary. I was just doing this for school. March of 2016, they do this financial inquiry of each other. March of 2016, they were both asking to reassess their for child support. May of 2016, there was a motion to strike and dismiss, moving forward that Jared had taken and accepted a job in Jacksonville. So all of this talk about Gardner wanting this schedule to be the same like when he was living in Utah is just ridiculous. But she made him like, hey, you're back here, right? Like, I don't have the kids all the time, right? So then once she saw that he was back there, then in April of 2016, she withdrew her motion. Again, the husband, Jared, he still wanted the motion just so that they could like get everything on the record. At the end of the day, the next time that they would be in court was again in January of 2017, because they just wanted to say that, hey, we agreed to 1 week on and 1 week off with the kids versus you have Mondays and Tuesday nights, I have Wednesdays and Thursday nights, and then we rotate Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights every other weekend. So we both agree in January of 2017 that we are going to have the kids 1 week on and 1 week off. And the week that you don't have the kids, you have the right to a date night on Wednesday nights for an hour or two. And that was put in place in January of 2017. And that continued all the way until Jared's death. And that is why Jared actually went to the house on Wednesday of 2022, is because he was picking the kids up for their Wednesday night date night. So whosever week it is not for that week, you have the right to drive over to the other parent's house and at 5 or 6 p.m. pick up the children, and then you bring them back within the 2-hour time frame. So it's like a 6 to 8 p.m. type thing that you would have them. In March of 2017, I think this is interesting. Shanna Gardner says that she only made $1,700 a month, but yet her expenses were $4,000 a month, and that her parents basically paid that additional amount. Yep. So $1,700 versus $3,500 in expenses. In May of 2017, Jared went pro se instead of being with an attorney. He went pro se, and something that could have potentially pissed off the Gardners was while Jared was pro se, he put subpoenas in, Deus Tecum subpoenas, because he was trying to go after the Gardners' financial records, because he felt that Gardner was lying to him, asking like how much money she made or how much money she got, and that she wasn't getting gifted all this stuff. Why do you need child support from me? You have plenty of money. Your family is giving you a ton of money. And so he went and filed subpoenas for the Gardners' financial records. Yeah. In August of 2017, it was determined that Jared would pay 88% of the children's medical expenses. That was after the cost of, because Shanna Gardner's, she was holding the kids' insurance. So anything out of pocket, it would be 88% he would pay, and 12% she would pay out of pocket. In addition to the $1,000 per month that Jared would pay in child support for both children combined. Now, in 2018, Jared got remarried actually in 2017, and then Gardner followed that in 2018, and she got remarried. So both of these two parents, they would then begin their new lives in 2017 and 2018 with other people, and that meant that they would both be getting new homes, even from the ones once they, Gardner was in the home that she bought Jared out of, and Jared was in a different residence. And then so Gardner would leave the original residence, and Jared would be leaving his home that he had before he got married to Kirsten. So they would move. Again, this whole moving thing. Jared then decided that he needed counsel because this was going to get a little interesting with what he was going to argue, which I get it. Jared got counsel on January of 2018 because Jared was claiming that, listen, Gardner switched up the insurance and she started paying a different amount of money out of pocket, which was way less than originally it was, which made their co-pays go way up. And Jared is the one that's responsible for 88% of that payment versus Gardner, who's paying 12%, once a bill would come their way. So of course it would make sense for Gardner to say, oh, let me change our insurance that I'm going to get the cheapest shit. And here on the back end, Jared's going to be paying 88% of whatever we would owe out of pocket. That's shitty, right? Absolutely. I think that's a total shitbag move. So April of 2018, Jared wants to have the hearing be in front of a judge and a magistrate, and Gardner wanted at that time, she wanted the courts to pick the school district that the kids would attend, because like I told you, both of them were moving from their homes that she had the original marriage home, but then when he moved out, but both of them are moving from those areas, and she's going to the beach and he's moving to wherever he's moving. And so Gardner was like, hey, we want the courts to decide, because we're over here arguing between both schools that are both like A grade schools. So it would be April of 2019, okay, that Gardner then decides, hey, not only do I need you to pick our school, but I want us to use the app Our Family Wizard versus us emailing each other, versus us texting each other. Can you please assign this court-ordered app? It's called Our Family Wizard. Jared was like, why the fuck do we need that shit? Okay. Why should we pay $100 and some a month, or not $100 a month, but per year? It's like an annual. The Our Family Wizard app can actually track you. It's got a built-in GPS. So if you were to ever subpoena that down the road with the courts, they could get their hands on. If you have it has the capacity. It's an app that have like a journal in there. And honestly, I recommend it. I know all about that app. I would recommend it. So here it is. Gardner wants the kids in a private school because Jared is moving back to St. John's. But prior to that, they both were deciding between two public school districts. One of them had 2 A's and the other one had just 1 A, and they were off by 2 points. At the end of the day, both of the twins were on an IEP, okay? And obviously the one twin has heart condition. And so the judge decides that Jared, his address, they're going to go with his address for the house or for the school because it has some more accommodating things for an IEP, as well as physical education, being inside and undercover and blah, blah. Now, Jared decides he's going to move, though, from that location. And once he was going to put in paperwork that he was going to be moving, that would then allow Gardner to then because his address, if he's moving, that means the kids could no longer go to that school for his address. So it gave her an opportunity to fight for, saying, hey, I want the kids to just go to a private school. This way, no matter wherever we were ever to live, if the kids are at this private school, the address wouldn't dictate where they go. And honestly, that makes sense for these two because, fuck, man, they literally move more than I change shoes, okay? They change houses more than people go and buy tennis shoes. And that's saying a lot. So, but the deal is that Gardner was like, listen, where her and Mario moved was literally a block or two from this Discovery school, which is a Montessori school. And so Gardner says, I will pay for the school myself, and I will even transport the kids, even if it's not my days. And I will let you out of your $1,000 a month payment to me for child support if you let the kids go to the Montessori Discovery School, which is, I don't know how much it was per month, but, and I'm over here like, dude, you just took him to court saying that you had no money, and now you're saying that you can pay for this. I'm like, it's contradictory with what your finances say, but I get it. Your parents are paying for it. Like, let's not kid ourselves. But here I was so shocked to see that Jared just signed away and said, sure, that sounds great. And I'm like, yo, bro, come on. It looks so bad. It makes it seem like you're only about the money. So again, you're always going to get the truth here from Lana. So basically the kids go to, and they've switched now schools, like it's wild. But I will say this, the school that the kids went to before the Discovery School, it was like Bartman or something. The kids were both on IEPs, and during that school year, the kids then were not on IEPs anymore. And what that would mean is that the work that school was providing and whatever they were doing, it made the kids not be on IEPs. Why would you ever want to move them from that? Like, that's insanity to me. They had 4 teachers per that age bracket that worked with the kids that had IEPs, and that's an awesome number. So I'm just saying, like, that's a really good number, a ratio. Anyways, now in January of 2020, they would talk about the first right of refusal. They put this in their paperwork way back in the day. First right of refusal is that if you have the children, it's your time, but you're not going to be the person that's with them for over an extended period of time, which is usually like 3 hours or longer. Then the other parent has the first right of refusal, meaning you have to offer to me to say, hey, I'm not going to be with the kids for more, for over that 3-hour period. So you have the right to have the kids during that time frame. That's how first right of refusal works. Now, Jared Bridegan, very interesting here. He wanted first right of refusal to extend even to the step parents, meaning if Shanna Gardner was not home with the kids and it was just Mario, okay, that Jerry was like to Gardner, yeah, no, I get first right of refusal even with a step parent, like even after she married Mario, like, and she's over here like, what are you talking about? And that means that I would get it if, Kirsten just had the kids for 3 hours. And he's like, no, I don't see it that way. It's not the same. And it's like, dude, you really want to get into this? At the end of the day, none of that went forward, but it kind of reminded me of the Donald Adelson case, which was, you can't be with my kid unsupervised. But at the end of the day, the first right of refusal, it didn't make it that far. But it should be noted that in January of 2020, Jared Bridegan did not want his kids with Mario Saldana for more than 3 hours alone. Now, something that I think should go to the credit of Miss Gardner is she asked for a parent coordinator to be on the case, which would mean that there would not be this constant tug of war, that we do not have to go to the courts to file anything, that we would go through our parent coordinator if we should ever disagree, which shows me that she was de-escalating the situations. It wasn't Jared Bridegan that said, hey, I want a parent coordinator to keep us out of going to court, right? It was Gardner, and that is going to play very, very significantly in the future proceedings here with this case. Nobody goes and asks for a parent coordinator. Nobody goes and asks for a social investigator. Okay. This was Shanna Gardner asking for these things. You don't go and do this if you're a parent that is irate and out of their mind, and that just wouldn't be the filings that you would make to possibly expose yourself to have your kids taken from you. So it was always Gardner, and especially there at the end, which was 3/4 of 2020 and 6/28 of 2021, which was the parent coordinator was the 3/4 of 2020. And then the last motion that they had ever talked about was in June of 2021, which was medical equipment for Liam. Shanna Gardner was going out of town, and she felt that Jared's equipment was better than her equipment. And so she just wanted to borrow it for her trip out of town, getting on a plane and what have you to go see her parents. Jared said, go piss up a tree. Okay. Well, Gardner made a really good point. She says, well, actually, I think I own half of that because we bought it through insurance. The court saw it her way. But that was the last time that they were in court, was 6/28/2021. He was gunned down and murdered on February 16th, 2022. So that's how you get to the murder. That's their relationship in a nutshell. Anybody that's going to tell you otherwise is a liar. I read all 733 pages of the filing for the divorce. So with that said, I told you guys it would be 45 minutes. There it is, and we'll pick up next time. Peace out.